polling shows Liz Truss is on track to win and replace Boris Johnson and become the next British Prime Minister. The gap between her and second candidate Rishi Sunak has narrowed, but time might be running out for him, with the majority having already voted. And unlike the past, these votes, they used to be able to be changed, but now can't be changed due to security concerns. Joining me live is the Director of Freshwater Strategy and pollster, Michael Turner. Good to see you.
How you doing?
First of all, I want to get to this rule quirk that has been changed. So in the intervening couple of months, when you're voting for a leader, the base is, this is a Conservative base, voting for a leader, they can vote at maybe, week 2, and then usually they can change their mind as the campaigning goes on and maybe change their vote at week 8 or whatever it is. But that has been changed. It's quite a quirk in the system.
Yeah,
What's
that's
your
right.
thinking?
Well, you might want to as well, because it's 6 weeks, 12 hustings, it's a long campaign, and they're going to find out a lot about these candidates over that period of time. Now, postal votes landed at the beginning of August, and traditionally you could change your original postal votes towards the end of that period, but this time not so, because they're concerned about hackers and potential interference. So that's changed the dynamic slightly, because it means that once you do send off your vote, that's locked in, and we've found out from some polling that's been done by YouGov recently that a majority of Conservative Party members have actually voted now. So, time is running out for Rishi Sunak.
Okay, so essentially that rule's been changed though, because they're worried about hackers?
Yeah, and there are obviously implications therefore for the campaign. And the thing is about Rishi Sunak's campaign is that he always needed to have a good hustings round to be able to overturn Liz Truss's lead. And so for him, it probably affected that campaign slightly more than Liz's.
Okay, talk to me about Liz Truss. Why is she seen as the darling among the base? Is she seen as one of them, a true Conservative? What's her pedigree? Yeah,
well, actually, there's been a bit of a misdemeanour about Liz Truss in the sense that, she's always been the favourite candidate. She is very popular with members. She has, regularly kind of had queues outside her for her speeches at the Conservative Party conference. And in a way, that's because the rhetoric that comes from Liz Truss speaks to the base. She knew the audience that she needed to be able to win over in order to be able to secure this election win. And she was always speaking to that from the very beginning. That's free market orientated, small state, strong Conservative values, hawkish on foreign policy, and she's remained true to that. The problem for Rishi Sunak is that, as we're finding out now, is he's changing some of his policies, certainly some of the rhetoric that we saw at the beginning of the campaign, and that's hurting him.
Well, no one has really been a better friend to Australia than Boris Johnson. Liz Truss as well. She did threaten to sit down our Trade Minister in a comfortable chair and, I think, pull the wool over his eyes. But in saying that, are you convinced that the base was as annoyed with Boris Johnson as his party colleagues?
No. The interesting thing about this poll is it shows that if Boris Johnson was on the ticket today, he would beat both candidates. So he is still very, very popular with the membership, and that might well be the reason why Liz Truss is also ahead, because remember, she's still in the government. She's still part of Boris Johnson's government. She didn't resign. And she is almost the unofficial approved candidate for number 10, if you like, because she's not said that she would essentially kind of move off the agenda from the Boris Johnson government. So, I think members see Liz Truss as someone who will protect Boris Johnson's legacy.
Okay, so this is always difficult in any kind of contest where you've got to appeal to the base. Then all of a sudden you're the Prime Minister and you need to appeal to the masses. How does one do that?
Well, I think you have to be true to your values. I think in the UK, you can be a pure Conservative and speak like Liz Truss does and win elections, because you don't necessarily need a majority of the vote to secure it. You can get away with 40-45% of the vote, and there are enough Conservative voters that are willing to be able to turn out for a Liz Truss type candidate. And actually, polling does show today that, based upon what voters know about Liz Truss, she would be beating the Labour Party, leading the Conservatives right now.
What is going on with Keir Starmer? Because, he really pushed this Partygate thing. He turned this into a bit of a bubble story at Westminster and made it mainstream. But it doesn't seem like he's got any electoral advantage out of it yet? Or are we still so far from an election that it doesn't matter?
I think we are very far from the election right now. So the polling that's coming out is indicative, but it certainly is not settled. The thing about Keir Starmer is he has not really had a great relationship with voters. He's seen as a bit of a wooden character, not able to communicate that clearly.
So the opposite of Boris Johnson.
Exactly.
So with this style of leadership, I don't think Trump and Boris Johnson are exactly alike. I think there are similarities, but I think the direct comparison is a bit lazy at times. That kind of leadership we've seen on the world stage with, Liz Truss about to get over the line, very different Prime Minister here in Australia as well. Do you think that era of that kind of leadership is over, or is something voters still really like about it?
No, I don't think it is over at all. I actually think it is possibly the model kind of moving forward. I think communications are going to become more important because you're going to have to signal to new coalitions of voters the type of leader you are and what your values are. I think Boris Johnson has set a new standard that will be replicated. I just think that COVID has, let's say, tired out a lot of leaders or aged them a little bit quicker than we might have seen previously.
Yeah, they had much more airtime than they usually would, I think. Mike Turner, great to talk to you. We'll speak soon.
Thank you.